Welcome to Everyday Car Guy. Today we're driving a Nissan Kicks. So come along for a ride and I'll show you what this car is all about. Hey, welcome to Everyday Car Guy. Today we're looking at a Nissan Kicks. This is a 2024 Nissan Kicks, and I know that because I checked on the inside. Here is a little information tablet that I've always talked about, and it says that it was built in late July of 2023, so this would be coming out for the 2024 model. The new 2025 has a lot more items in it in the driver convenience packages, but for the most part, for low 20s, you get a pretty nice car. Taking a quick look at this car, it's a subcompact SUV, very similar to the Mazda CX-5 that I did a review at about a year ago, and it has the same problems that I had with that car. A very small back seat and a small trunk. But overall, it's not a bad car. It starts around 21.5 and goes up to about 28, just below 28 for the fully loaded model. Of course, I rented this one from Alamo Rental Car, and they consider this car a full-size car. I don't know how this is a full-size car. It's a compact SUV. From this car's point of view, it has a very small engine. I think it's a four-cylinder, puts out about 122 horsepower. The car only does 0 to 60 in 9.6 seconds. That's incredible. Things I like about this car, I love the headlights. The headlights are very cool. It has turn indicators in the mirrors. This is this new gray color. I like the wheels. Nothing fancy about this car, but you're not spending a lot of money on the car. Overall, it has a nice little stance. I like the way this line comes up to the back and it's kind of slanting down as you come to the front. I like the two-tone of the black and this, I call it a putty gray. I'm not sure what the color is. But this car is not the bottom line. The lowest one comes with hubcaps. This one has aluminum wheels. The hubcap model, the very bottom line, is just a little bit under $22,000. This model was probably in the $24,000 range. Overall, the car has a good stance. It's just the same problems as the Mazda. It's a very small back seat, and the trunk only can hold maybe one big suitcase and a couple of backpacks or two smaller suitcases in a backpack. So there's not a lot of room. It's really designed for two people and then taking two either small kids in the back seat or a very short trip with full adults. Let's take a look at the trunk. You come around to the back and there's actually two buttons underneath here. This one, you can lock the car and unlock it, and then this one, you can unlock the trunk and open it. Now, if you come in here, you can see that there's not a lot of room here. You can fit one big suitcase or maybe two medium-sized suitcases in a backpack, but you can put the seats down 60-30. You lift this knob up here and put it down, or if you come over here, from the inside, the knob is right here. You lift it up and it goes down, and you can put more stuff here. But if you notice, it's not level. Here, come back over here. You can see that it's not level. It just gives you more room, but it's kind of it's a smaller car, so it doesn't have all the nice accoutrements that, let's say, the minivan has and stuff. But let's take a look at the back seat. So once I put this seat back up, we'll put this one up too, you can see there's not a real lot of legroom. This seat is way up front, which is fine, but there's not a lot of legroom. You have little power outlets right here, but you don't even have a middle arm, and I'm not sure how you fit 3 people in this car in the back seat. Now, if you push the seat up, now I feel like I have a lot of legroom, but then that front passenger doesn't have a lot of room. One nice thing about the Nissan is you can lock the car with one button touch, or you can unlock it once, twice, unlocks all the doors. Let's take this out for a quick spin and see what this car's all about. The Nissan Kicks is a similar size to that of the Mazda CX-5. I think the CX-5 is a little bit more powerful, a little bit faster, 0 to 60, handles a little bit better. The car has some tech, but not the full tech package. It doesn't have a sunroof, but it does have aluminum wheels. It does have Apple CarPlay. You can hook up your Android also. It has lane keeping alerts. So if I go out of the lane, it rumbles and makes a sound. It has indicators by the mirrors over here that show if there's a car in your blind spot. So it has some pretty good tech. Has a great backup camera, has sensors all around. So it does tell you when you're backing into a spot if there's any problems. Setting cruise control. And what does this do? Distance. Oh. Looks like it might have adaptive cruise control. And look at that, this car has adaptive cruise control. We are coming to a stop because the traffic ahead of us is stopped. So we found that this button turns on your adaptive cruise control. We have cruise control, you set it, adaptive. Very interesting. We have lane departure warning on, so if I go out of the lane, it shakes and it makes a sound, and it has adaptive cruise control. Having that tech is really great. Unfortunately, this car does not come with lane keeping assist. I believe the 2025 I read does come with that, only on the top level. I also believe in 2024 you could only get this car with front wheel drive, and if I read it correctly, the 2025 comes all wheel drive. I do like the simplicity of the buttons. I like where the start button is, which is right by the shifter. Everything else is pretty straightforward. You have a lot of options on your dashboard. So I was playing with some of the options. You can change your dashboard around and do different things. You can hook up your Bluetooth very simply. I hook up my phone using the hardwire for Apple CarPlay. I did hook up the Bluetooth, but it's not doing Apple CarPlay, so I might have to play with that a little bit. But for now, it's very simple to hook up my phone, plug in my Waze, and away I go, no problem. The car rides pretty good for a small SUV, and overall, it's a nice little car for the money. We're just gonna make a quick U-turn, get back on the main road. There's a pretty tight turning radius, I will say that. That was pretty tight. So when I first got in the car, I was trying to turn the fan up, and I was having a hard time figuring out where the fan was because I thought it was dual control. That was my big mistake. I thought it was a dual control air conditioner, and it was not. Where I was turning down the temperature on both units, one was temperature and the other side was fan. So the left side is temperature, the right side is fan. So now that I figured that out, I'm good to go. So I would think for a car for driving in Florida, this is probably a pretty good car. It has a good ground clearance, so if it, get a big downpour and you got some big puddles, don't feel bad about it going through the puddles. You don't have to worry about snow down here in Florida. Again, its entrance ramps to the highway are pretty long, so you don't have to worry about the fact that this car takes 10 seconds to get up to 60 miles an hour. If you're living in Connecticut, that old Merritt Parkway and the Bronx River Parkway in New York, this would be a difficult car to get on because you need some horsepower to get on those roads. But for here, it's a good car. It's a good starter car, and you got a lot to go with. If I had a son or a daughter that was wanted to get them a car, this would be a good car to get if you can afford that. It's a pretty good price. Every year the tech keeps getting better and better in these cars, and more things come standard, so I think that's a fantastic thing. So the base model comes with cloth seats. This has this vinyl fake leather seat, which is pretty nice. Not a lot of buttons, but it has enough on the steering wheel to keep you satisfied with your cruise control and your radio stations, and you can shut off all kinds of things. It does have the hold button. Let's see if it's working. It is working. I clicked on the auto hold, so when you come to a light, you can rest your foot. And there's a button up here that says SOS, so I assume that is to call for an emergency if you're in a car accident. So that's kind of cool. I'm sure that's an extra fee per month, as all cars have it. I noticed on the headrest it has Bose on it, so it must be a Bose sound system. It does sound pretty good, I will say this. It has heated seats, and it even has a heated steering wheel, which is kind of cool. Not that you need that down here in Florida. Other than that, I like the dashboard, I like the setup. I wish the monitor was higher and the air conditioning was on the side. I do like the monitor being as high up to the windshield as possible. I hate looking way down. I like it just looking off. And I do love that's, I think it's that Mazda had the heads-up display. Love that. It's a pretty nice screen. Has good display. It's very bright. I am concerned that it's just out there so that when you make a turn and you're in the sun, that the sun will block your screen. But for the most part, it's a pretty nice looking screen. It really is a comfortable riding car. I like the way it rides. Its handles, nothing fancy. It's not a sports car, but you're not buying this car for the handling. You're buying this car because you want some space, you want some headroom, which is very nice. I'm just shy of 6 feet and I have plenty of headroom, plenty of legroom. You do sit up high, which I like. So for longer trips, your legs are not out long, they're sitting like a chair, which I do like. You're buying this car because it's an inexpensive car that you get a lot for your money. For 2 people, this car is actually pretty good. So we're staying out in St. Petersburg. We're actually at Madeira Beach, which is right on the Gulf Coast, and just probably the farthest west part of St. Petersburg. And we went to the Salvador Dali Museum, which is only 25 minutes away from where we're staying. So come along for a ride and I'll show you what that museum is all about. On the road with the Everyday Car Guy. We stayed in St. Petersburg, Florida, near the Gulf at Madeira Beach. The Gulf Coast at Madeira Beach is beautiful and the water was warm and calm. Nearby is John's Pass, filled with restaurants, bars, and tourist shops. My wife and I, being art lovers, couldn't pass up seeing the Dali Art Museum. I've always loved the works of Salvador Dali and his museum did not disappoint. The architecture alone was beautiful and do not pass up a docent tour since they are very informative and a lot of fun. Our guide encouraged group participation, made everyone feel that group fun is important, since art is so subjective to the individual and how the art makes them feel. Nearby are beautiful parks and a boat basin with restaurants for everyone to enjoy. We loved sitting on the beach and watching the sunsets. It's time for Everyday Car Guy's report card. As for comfort, the Nissan Kicks interior is pretty comfortable for the front seat passengers. The front seats are firm and you sit somewhat high, but the back seat legroom is pretty tight when you have a driver that's about 6 feet tall. So for comfort, let's give the Nissan Kicks a B+. Now for performance. I always rate cars on everyday use. 0 to 60 is the most important performance element since we all need to get on highways. The Nissan Kicks comes with a 1.6-liter 4-cylinder engine that only produces 122 horsepower. Reviews suggest that the 0 to 60 time is between 9.7 and 10.7 seconds. The car rides well, but I was mostly driving on well-paved streets and highways. Since the Kicks is so slow getting to 60 miles per hour, for performance, I'm only rating the Kicks a C-. Economically, the Nissan Kicks gets up to 36 miles per gallon on the highway and about 31 in the city. For a car that's not a hybrid, that's pretty good gas mileage. So for economy, let's give the Kicks a B+. Let's talk about design. The Nissan Kicks has a great stance, good-looking front grille, and I love the alloy wheels. The fit and finish look good all around, and I like the design of the interior. The stitching on the seats and dash gave it a sporty look that I really liked. The car felt like it had a strong build, but the drawback was the backseat legroom. For a young family with small children, this car works, but once you add a stroller and some other child necessities, your trunk space is pretty much eaten up. So for design, let's give the Nissan Kicks a B. For value, the Kicks starts under $22,000. Wow, that's a lot of car for the money. If you're buying your first car, the Nissan Kicks delivers styling and comfort for a super price. So for value, I'm rating the Nissan Kicks an A+. Overall, the Nissan Kicks gets a combined grade of a solid B. Hey, thanks for joining me today on Everyday Car Guy. If you like this episode with the Nissan Kicks, hit the subscribe button below. Until next time, drive carefully.